Well, now I'm going to start on a project. As you know, I'm working on my going to be working on replacing all the decor and everything in my main bathroom, and I always keep a cover over my tissue box, and I have one for every season, and I have one I just leave up. It was a buffalo check. Well, I'll show them to you later after I get out of here off the software. But I'm going to make a tissue cover, and I think I found this right here, this image off of Etsy, and I'm going to use it to put on the front of it. And then this light tan color will be this will be black. The light tan will be black, and this will be a goldish color. And then I'll put this on the front of it. But now I have to cut all the pieces and build my box. So I'm going to I've got them all set up, ready to go. There's the sides, and one of these sides the picture will go on. And there is part of the box. There's part of the box, and then I have the top. And then there's where I've printed out the picture. So I'm going to get all this cut out, and then I'll come back when I'm building the box. And by the way, I normally will take this and spray it with just kind of a clear spray lightly, so water, if it splashes on it, doesn't really do any damage. And it is just paper, but I've used the black buffalo check for 2 or 3 years, and it's got a few water spots on it, but it really doesn't look bad, so it does hold up. All my pieces of paper are cut with preparation lines. There's the sides, there's the picture that goes on it, and there's the top. And here are the ones that I use. This is the one I use at Christmas. This is my everyday one, and this is the fall one. And I'd say the fall and the Christmas I've used for the past 2 years, and the buffalo check I probably at least 3 years. And I just take them and I save them, and I just switch them out. They just open up from the bottom, just like a box. And I just switch them out. But now, since I'm doing a different decor, I'm going to do, of course, a different tissue box. So I'm going to get started, and first thing I'm going to do is probably ink the edges of this so it won't be so plain, and then I will glue that down onto the correct front, whatever's going to be the front. Then I'll get started by perforating, folding where it's perforated and putting the box together. Okay, I'm going to distress the edges by just using some of the Ranger Tim Holtz Distress Ink in a walnut stain. Boy, do I need to get some more. This pretty much dried up. I thought it just looked a little better than just plain paper. Just run it around the edges. Alright. I've done 2 of them already. Oh, I need to do the top one. Need to do it all the way around here. Alright. That's all I'm going to do to those. Just give it a little depth on it. Set that aside. Now, I have to figure out, I've got to make sure I put there's perforated lines, the cameo, the pattern. I have glue on my fingers. Okay, it will be, the front of it will be right here on this one. So I want to make sure this picture goes there. So I'm using, put in a little squeeze bottle, this art glitter glue. It goes on real nice. and thin when I have it in this bottle. Get as close to the edges as I can. Probably just do this with my fingers a little bit. Alright, now I'm going to take my picture. Don't want to mess it up. I have glue on my fingertips. Make sure it's straight. There we go. That's on there. Now, all I'm going to do is glue all these pieces on the rest of the box, and then I'll fold it on where the perforation lines are and glue them together, and I'll show you how it turns out. Okay, I have another project that I'm working on that's going to require a light in it, and I'm going to use this little candle here. It's a timer. It comes on, you turn it on, it stays on, I think for 6 hours, shuts off, and then comes back on the next day at the same time. But I have a project that this is going to go in, and I want to darken up that bulb some and give it kind of a silicone that I just want to try it and see what it's like. Anyways, this time I'm going to try putting some coffee in it. Doesn't quite look right, then I'll go to my cinnamon, but I'm going to mix this up. Alright, here's what it looks like. I put about a heaping tablespoon of coffee in it and stirred it up, and I did sprinkle about a teaspoon or maybe a teaspoon and a half of cinnamon in it to just darken it up some. But I like the chunky look of the coffee. Okay. And this, it doesn't come out, so I may have to try to smear a little bit of it around on my own. I don't know. I'm going to go around again. Go. It's just too thick. And it's missing some right in there. Twirl it out. Okay. Looks like I'm going to have to fill some of it in. No big deal, I'll do it. Kind of make sure it's around the bottom. I really don't mind the way it's looking. I'm concentrating, guys. I think that looks all right. Now, kind of clean. I am going to do something with this down here too, so I'm not so worried about it. I'm just going to wipe a little bit of that off. I always have cat hair. Okay, I like the way that looks. Now, I have to set this somewhere to dry. I don't think it'll go down in that. Let's see. Nope. Hope that's not too tall. Just a little too tall. Oh, hit the camera. Okay, that'll work. That little cup there. That'll work. Set that aside and leave it for 24 hours. Let it dry. And then I'll work on the bottom part of it. Okay, my candle has pretty much dried. And I'm going to have to work on it. the bottom part of it. But what I'm doing is I'm doing a chicken feeder, and I'm going to decorate it. And I have this little wreath. I actually had, it was a little larger, and I cut it down, as you can see, and I wired it because it was just too big around. And I'm going to put that on there, and I'm going to decorate this. But I had to find a way to get this candle to set down in there. So I took a piece of just cardboard cereal off the cereal box, and I cut a strip. Fingers are dirty because I've been in here working, but I cut a strip and made it to where it would fit on that. Now I'm going to take that strip. I don't know if I'm going to need to paint it or not. I really don't think it's not really going to matter. It's not really going to show because the ring's going to be on there. Okay, I'm not going to paint it. But I'm going to take my E6000 and put it around there and put it down in there and let it dry so my candle will have something to stand in. And I'm going to be working on my candle and decorating the little wreath that's going to go around it. And then when it's finished, put this down. When it's finished, this jar, this mason jar, I think it was just one of those spaghetti jars actually. What's that brand? I can't remember the brand name because I didn't really want to use one of my canning jars because I use them to can and they're not easy to get and they're getting expensive. So I'm going to reuse this one on here. Alright, I'm going to figure out what I'm going to do with this candle and with the wreath and start working on it. Okay, I've decided to give this just paint the candle with the Apple Barrel Khaki Tan. And I did go ahead and put some Mod Podge on this and let it dry. Kind of give it some tooth. And I put a little bit of baking soda in the paint just to give it a little bit of texture. I don't know if you can tell. It didn't give it a lot, but some. Anyways, I'm going to put this on there, let it dry. Then I might go over it with some antiquing wax. So the drips, the wax drips will show up more. Well, this is dry now. And I'm going to take some of this folk art antiquing wax and put on it because I don't want just plain. And then wipe it back. I hope it works. Or turns out like I like. Need to get in those nooks and crannies. Okay. Paper towel. Well, I don't want to rub so hard. It is rubbing the paint off from it. Because it hasn't dried, I guess, good enough. Be careful. I may end up having to put some cinnamon on it with Mod Podge. Not what I wanted to do, but if I'd known it was going to do that, I wouldn't have rubbed it that hard. Maybe I can just let that dry on there. I don't know. All right. Put that in there. Let it dry. And move on to this now. I've pulled some stuff out. At Christmas time, I went into a thrift shop, the Christmas thrift shop, and I bought 2 wreaths, and I had it in a haul. Well, I tore one of them apart because it was on like this metal ring that was wrapped, and it wouldn't, no way, fit on that. And so I thought, well, I'll tear it apart, and I'll use some of that to go on there, and I'll still have these left to mess with sometime. And then I have, off of Etsy, I did buy some tip berries. I think it was 50 in a package, and I got this color and then this. And I'm going to go around and try to stick some of those in. And I'm going to use some Spanish moss. Yeah. I'm going to use some of that. And I'm going to decorate this wreath up. But I can't really, it's hard for me to do it on camera because I don't know what I'm going to do. I could sit here for an hour fiddling and twisting and pulling off and seeing what I'm going to do. But that's what I'm working on. And I think I've got that glued down in there for my candle to fit in. And I believe I'm just going to leave this the color it is. If I could have found one of these rusted up at a thrift store, I would have bought it, but I didn't. So anyways, I'm going to start working on this little wreath and get this put together. All right, I've just went through here. I put some Spanish moss, just tucked it down in there. And I've went through this, I put 2 of these stems here off the little ring, candle ring or whatever I got at the thrift shop. And this here, I got a package of 4 of those while I was there the same day. So 2 of these pieces are from the thrift shop. Of course, I had to split this one and cut it down because it was just too big. But I've just been going around. I put those ones, I put the red ones on there. And then I've been going around tucking in the darker colored ones. I don't know, is that showing? Do I need more light? Let me see. Let's see if that helps. Anyways, these are darker colored, and then the white ones. And I've just been going around sticking them in there. And then this has also some rusty stars. I might get some more rusty stars and put on because there's 2 there. Well, here's one. Just need to pull it up to where it can be seen. Yeah, that'll work. Now, that's finished, and it looks good. So that's dry down in there. I don't know, do I have batteries in this? Uh-oh. I'm gonna have to get an X-Acto knife and go around that and get that open. So hang on, guys. All right, I'm starting over with my candle. And I think I did use this on, I started messing with this and it started coming off. And if it was mine for me to keep, if I wasn't going to take it into the mercantile, I would just left it because it wouldn't have bothered me. I mean, I knew to be careful, but when you're going to sell it, you don't want the stuff scratching off. So I found this, I've used this before on plastics. It's a flat red primer, and it says bonds to plastic, wood, metal, and more. So I'm going to start all over painting this. I gave it a coat of this, and I'll go back and do the candle the same way. But if I remember right, I've done some more candles, plastic candles. I'm thinking I did paint it with this and then put the Mod Podge and cinnamon over them. But I wanted to let you know I'm starting all over with this here. I'm going to wait for this to dry and redo it. All right, I got it finished. And there's the way. It's kind of dark in here, but it's either dark in one area or the sun's shining in another. And that's the way it turned out. I've had this little crock sitting here for quite a while, gonna work on it, and I'd already filled in the little holes. It was one of those little cheese crocks. And I filled in the little holes there, and I've been gonna paint it and even mixed up the paint, and finally decided I'm gonna get to it. So I'm going to get this painted, and it's probably gonna take 2 coats, let it dry, and then I'm gonna put one of the IOD stamps on it. Alright, I finished giving it 1 coat. I'm going to let it dry thoroughly and then give it another coat. Well, it's dry. I'm going to try my hand to putting the stamp on. I guess if it doesn't work, I'll just wipe it down a little bit and repaint it, dry it, let it dry again, and stamp it again. Looks like I've got enough everywhere. Trying to hold it down the best I can. I don't think I'm doing a good enough job. Kind of see a little spot. Oh well, I can touch that up with some paint. I'm done. It's good. It's a little worried. Okay, I'm wiping this off. I'll let that dry, and I'll put a little bit of paint right there where it's smeared out. And I'm calling it good. Then I'll probably put some greenery in it or something, because this is going to the mercantile. Alright, I'm going to let that dry, and I'll work on it a little more.